It's Holly again. So today I thought we would work kind of on the whole process. We've done little kind of bits and pieces here and there, back and forth, but I thought we'd kind of present it as a whole process. And the thing I picked was searching for a new job. Maybe you're not working now because of the loveliness that's going on in the world, and maybe you're just ready for a change now that you've reevaluated some of your life choices and your priorities. So, I wanted to talk about searching for a job. So, what I typically do when preparing for searching for a job is what do I want to do? Like, what can I stand to do? Kind of start at the bottom and work way up. Um, there are a lot of things online like personality surveys and enneagrams, I think is one of them, but they kind of go how your thought process is versus what other people with that same thought process end up working in. Whether that's what they enjoy or not, that's up for evaluation. But it does kind of point you in some directions if you're like, well, I don't even know what I want to do. I'm not sure what I want. So I usually start with some of the online tools and see what they recommend for me, somebody that thinks like me or feels like me, however whatever they're measuring. Um, Go through there and figure out what appeals for you. There'll be certain things that'll just jump out at you, and you're like, oh, that sounds so good. Oh, that would be so nice. So then um, that gives you a starting point. Okay. From there, start researching those job fields, those career ideas. Okay. Um, See what they pay, see what kind of schooling or education they take. Um, Again, match up your background with what you're going for. Some people are just like, you know what, I just need a job. I'm just going to get a job, and that's fine too. But it's more of the process of what do I ultimately want? Do I want something that pays me money to show up every day, or do I want something that's spiritually fulfilling for me? So usually it's kind of somewhere in between there. I want somebody that pays me, and I want something that at least I feel good about doing, not that I feel terrible about it. Okay, so weeding through the personality slash thought process calculators online, find two or three fields that are sort of related. They don't have to necessarily have to be, but usually I kind of group them. I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus on this group of things. Um, Search those jobs, see what they pay, see what kind of demand there is in your area, see what college education requirements there are, see if you can take some online classes to kind of push you more in that direction if you've had other job experiences that aren't really related. Udemy and Coursera both offer free classes, some better, some worse, but at least they offer something that you can sit through and look at and start deciding, yes, I really really like this, or no, now that I've looked at it, I don't think I want to do that. Um, so kind of personality wise, and then what's realistic in your area for paying college education, whatever, and then I would actually start. I would take a class, maybe depends on how off. If I need a job like right now, it's going to be probably retail in my region. Right now, stores are hurting for people because a lot of them are getting paid more on the emergency relief stuff than they would be if they were working 35 hours a week plus taxes and stuff taken off. They're making way more money on the emergency relief programs than they would if they went back to work at a minimum wage job, which it's going to soon be a real conflict for some of the employers. So look what there is, see what you want. Um, Look at your job field, whatever your personality thing decided you were going to go for, and look at those, but then also look outside that. Well, these are tangentially kind of related to that, so then look at, a little bit beyond that, like, oh, I could also be a receptionist as well as a secretary. I could also be a personal assistant as well. So you can kind of increase your bubble and your aspects, because you may find one that's just really 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 what you want, and then hopefully you can find somebody that's hiring in that field. But at least then you have something else to fall back on. Well, I could also be this with these skills I have and the kind of mind I have about thinking. So personality types, whatever online, actual job fields, the surrounding job fields for the one field that you thought was ideal. And then I would start with how can I beef up what I already have and know to be more of what this job thing says it wants. I could take a programming class, learn Python. I could, do this. I could do that. So start making some real plans and give yourself deadlines. Okay, I'm going to spend 2 days looking online. I'm going to spend 2 days looking at those career fields and the adjacent career fields, and then I'm going to spend another 2 days. And 2 days, you have to define that. Is that 2 days of, yeah, I looked today? Or, yeah, I spent 3 or 4 hours on the computer looking at those applications, looking at the resumes of other people that have applied for it, looking at real resources, not just, yeah, I went through and boop, there it is. So then the next step would be either some education or some reworking of your own resume. And then the fourth thing would be find all the job websites. There's monster.com. There's a job bank here in Canada. Where I live, there's an advertising program thing called Castanet, and it has all like garage sales and barbecues for sale, but it also has jobs and houses for rent and stuff like that. So then find the 3 or 4 big tools for your area, and they're going to vary based on where you are and what you are. Nobody outside of my area has heard of Castanet, but here it is the thing. If you put stuff on Castanet, you're out there. So look for the sources of jobs. Okay, start pilfering through those and look. You're going to need to spend, I would say, 2 to 3 hours a week looking at all the new job postings. With Job Bank, I can have it refined into certain career fields, and they will send me an email every day about the new jobs in my career field. Like, my husband's a chef, so I'm getting chef ones because he usually works seasonally, so I'm always looking for the other off-season jobs to find the best available thing for him. And that's saying learn the tools like Monster. I haven't played with Monster very much. Learn their tools. Learn if you can get sent all the new things every day. Each day, at the end of the day, they're like, oh, Holly wanted to know about cook jobs, so here's all the cook jobs that came in today in your region, whatever. And that's the thing, you can give it parameters for physical location, job titles, that kind of thing. Set those up, and then you don't have to spend nearly as much time on them. Then would be reworking the resume. Rework your resume geared towards what you want, and maybe do 1 or 2 of those other tangent adjacent job fields that you really, it's not super exciting to you, but at least it's kind of what you wanted, mostly what you wanted. So then if there are jobs, you can quickly re-edit one of your resumes and send it off. Okay. Cover letters. And where I live, you need to almost always accompany your resume with a cover letter, which everyone loves them. So one of the things I've heard is take the language from their ad and reuse it. We want a highly motivated, self-sufficient, friendly voiced receptionist. I'm a friendly voiced I have a lovely phone voice. I love fast-paced environments. Repeat what they've said in their ad as what you have and what you're going to offer to them. So reword it just slightly, but it should resonate when they hear it. If they've actually written that job ad, they'll be like, this sounds like what I want. There's some more. Oh, look, there's some more. They're going to be like, yay. Okay, so it's going to be a process, and you can't have an end deadline for this, but I would say if you spend a day or 2 on each aspect, looking at the personality stuff, figuring out what you would want to do or what you would do good at, looking at those actual career fields, that it is feasible, because once I dreamt of being a vet tech assistant. The classes for vet tech assistants, and they wanted certified vet tech assistants, the classes for that were like $6,000 or $7,000, and it ended up that you got paid like 15 cents above minimum wage. There's no way I'm going to spend $7,000 to get 10 cents more, 10 or 15 cents more than minimum wage. That just wasn't a real practical thing. And then again, with vet tech assistants, I've actually done this job without being a certified vet tech assistant, but you end up doing a lot of laundry for cage cleaning. You clean cages. You get especially when you're new, you get the worst possible parts of the animal, that tech assistant thing. So make sure that you realize that. Make sure you realize it's not just going to be, oh, I get to play with the dogs. And, there's nail trimmings, there's spays and neuters, there's sick dogs, there's putting down dogs that are, at end of life. Um, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's not fun and rosy in every job. And make yourself aware of that. Make yourself aware of what your job really does entail. Um, in the normal world, we might be able to just call a vet center and say, "Yeah, I had a question. Do you have a vet tech available to talk to me?" And then invite them out for coffee or a snack and ask them, what does your job entail? What do you recommend I know before I take this job? What do you love best about it? What do you hate the most about it? That kind of a real life feel for what it is. Because I was a vet tech a couple different times in my careers, and it's not something I really want to do. It sounded wonderful, but in reality, it's a lot of scut work and a lot of cleaning. And I'm like, well, if I'm doing all that cleaning, I might as well be cleaning my house. Yeah. I can do it a lot faster because I cleaned up the dog, and he had anesthetic. I forget what happened to the dog. It wasn't like a normal spay and neuter. It was something else, something more traumatic. And the anesthetic made him sick, so he vomited. So I pulled everything out, cleaned him up, put him back, put fresh towels in there, went to go launder the towels, came back, he vomited again. So I had to repeat the whole procedure. And I spent, I would say, a third of my day just dealing with that dog and his vomit so that he would stay fresh and clean. And it wouldn't get in his sutures and stuff. But just know that never is there going to be a job that absolutely everything is what you want. Look into the job, look in and know what it is. If you can possibly do it, find somebody that's done that job or something similar and ask them what the job is really like day to day. What do you actually spend your time doing? As a vet tech assistant, it's laundering towels and cleaning dog kennels and cat boxes. So that's typically what it's dog and cat. We had some cows and horses and stuff too, but and that's the thing I would much rather do, large animals and small animals. But knowing what it is, if you're going to spend the time and the effort and the research, spend it in a good way and learn what you really want to learn, which is I want a job that is at least satisfying 80% of the time when I go to it, and they pay me enough I can live. So I just kind of wanted to give you my thought process on that because I've kind of gone over little bits of this and little bits of that. So putting it all together in one piece. So that's how I would approach finding a new job, especially post-COVID. Some places are really, really hurting for workers right now because nobody wants to not collect the emergency relief stuff wherever in the US and Canada. I'm in Canada. So you might be able to get into a job that normally you wouldn't just because right now nobody else wants to. And it depends too on the pay raise. If it's a pay rate at just at minimum-ish wage, the EI is paying way more unemployment. The unemployment is paying way more right now than a normal wage, and they're not taking off tax or the health benefits and all the other little bits and pieces. So I get $500 a week versus if I was actually working 35 hours at a minimum wage job, I would get around $390 because of the stuff they take off the checks. So it's like, I can sit at home for $500, or I could go back to work and get around $390. And that's just, yeah. So a lot of people, but what I'm saying is if you move now, you might be able to get into a position that normally you wouldn't qualify for, and they will be willing to train you, and you get what you want and they get what they want. They need somebody to fill that spot, and you're willing to learn and work hard at it. It might be a good time to jump if there's one of those kind of positions available that you're not quite really suited for it or not trained. They may be willing to train you because right now all the craziness going on. This is Holly. Thank you very much. I will see you again next week.